If you're an acrylic artist out there and you've always wanted to try Bob Ross style paintings or wet on wet landscapes, you've always needed this right here, liquid white. Unfortunately, there is no liquid white for acrylic artists. Until now. Luckily for you, I'm going to share my secret recipe that I've made that's going to get you a perfect DIY liquid white for acrylic paint out there. So that way you can jump on the Bob Ross bandwagon and start doing your wet on wet landscape paintings. You're just going to love it, so here we go. What's up, all you awesome painters out there? Wild here to make sure you become bigger and better with your painting adventures. If this is your first time here and you need help with tips, tricks, how-tos, or tutorials, make sure you hit that big red subscribe button down below and tick that bell so you know when my videos go live for you. Oh man, I can't believe I'm gonna give out my secret recipe for acrylic liquid white. Now, to get started, you're gonna need a few ingredients and supplies. Our first ingredient we're gonna need is we need a strong foundation for a white titanium paint. And for that, we're gonna be using golden open acrylic titanium white paint. The reason that we're gonna be using this paint right here is because it is specially formulated to have an extended slow drying time. So we're already starting off on the correct foot. Now, if you can't find golden open acrylic paint, you know what? You can use any basic white titanium paint that you can get your hands on. But please note, your dry times will be cut in half if you do go with regular versus the open acrylic, okay? Our next ingredients are all mediums that will go into creating and crafting our DIY liquid white for acrylic painting. Our first one that we have up is going to be our gloss glazing liquid from Golden. This is a slow drying extender for all the acrylic colors that will be going on top, which will allow us to blend naturally and give us that extended dry time that we want. Our next ingredient is Golden Open Thinner. And what this is gonna do for us is thin down our liquid white acrylic paint. The reason we want it to do that is because when we can get it a little bit thinner than the creamy consistency, it's gonna allow us to blend it easier across our canvas, adding to the natural gradient effect for when we put colors on top of it. Nothing wrong with having a creamy liquid white acrylic paint. That's actually beautiful for other things like highlights on trees. So you might want to make 2 batches here. Hey, just a little extra note for you. Our next ingredient is the big boy of them all. It is Golden Retarder. Golden Retarder is an additive that really extends our drying time. And I mean really extend it. This is awesome right here. This will extend the drying times of all of our paints and mediums. Now you have to be extremely careful with retarder because since it's an extender that allows for a lot more drying time, the reason it's able to accomplish that is because it has no binder in it. So if you use too much of this, it'll actually ruin the integrity of the paint, which means it could have poor paint adhesion. More about this when we start to make our recipe. When it comes to making our acrylic liquid white or magic white, the recipe is as follows. You want to make sure you do 50% golden open acrylic titanium white paint, followed by 30% retarder, 10% gloss glazing liquid, and 10% open thinner. And this is going to give you the best viscosity and consistency across your paint. Combine all the ingredients thoroughly. Once everything's combined, you're gonna get a nice, thin, creamy texture. You should be able to whip the top of the paint to get nice, soft peaks. When you have this, you've got a perfect acrylic liquid white and magic white paint ready to use. Now, when you use gloss glazing liquid, it's actually gonna add a tiny bit of a sheen to your paint, which I actually like. But if that's not you, you can take out the 10% from the gloss glazing liquid and add 10% more of the retarder. But please do not add too much retarder. Like we said before, if you go anything over 50% with retarder, since it has no binder, it's actually going to hurt the paint adhesion, which means it's gonna ruin the recipe and ruin your painting. So do not go more than 50% or 1-to-1 with retarder, okay? With my acrylic liquid white recipe that we just crafted, you can clearly see on our test canvas that the liquid white stays wet for well beyond an hour. In fact, it stays a little bit wet, almost up to 2 hours. Yeah, it gets a little tacky, but you can always add another layer on top of this or even add a little bit more liquid white to re-wet that section. But this is gonna get you almost close to 2 hours, which is gonna be awesome for any person trying to do a landscape or a Bob Ross painting out there in acrylic paint. Now, please keep in mind, when I did all the testing for the liquid white recipe here, I tested it in around 80 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. I also tested them on canvas that was only double primed. So if you're gonna use something that's triple or quadruple gesso primed canvas, you're actually gonna have less of a porous surface here, which means your extended drying time will be even longer. So please keep that in mind when you make your own recipe and use it. Now that I showed you how to make the perfect liquid white recipe for acrylic painting out there, I guess I should give it a name. I'm thinking,
oh yeah, Wild's wet white spreading across your canvas.
I honestly think that's the best name for this paint. I mean, what else would you expect from a channel like mine? Now, if you want to make your own version of Wild's Wet White, hey, all the ingredients are listed down below in links that you can click through to help support my channel that costs you nothing. So thank you very much for help supporting my channel. Now, if you can't get any of these supplies, or hey, you want to use a different version, I have another video that shows you 3 versions of liquid white that will be perfect for you just starting out. Take a look at that video right after this one, and until next time, all you beautiful painters out there, stay safe, keep creating, and of course, peace.